This week's episode of the Infamous Podcast is brought to you by Comixology.com. Are you in desperate need of a superhero fix? We can help you out. Go to infamouspodcast.com/Comixology and you can get access to Comixology Unlimited free for 30 days. And you can get access to Batman and Wonder Woman and Black Widow and Spider-Man and all these great comic book movies that are supposed to be coming out that have been pushed back. So go to infamouspodcast.com/Comixology and start your free 30-day trial to Comixology Unlimited today. Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Daryl.
And, hey, Daryl. I do not want a Simon Kinberg Battlestar Galactica movie.
I know you said there's, we don't like to say no, so I'll just say hard pass.
I don't even like to say hard pass, so I'll just say nah, brah. So this has nothing to do with the news. It's just Daryl told me about this right before we started recording, and not fun, not cool. Yeah, no, thank you.
So one of the reactors I listen to is Nikki and Steven React, and like when they're watching shows, one of her quotes is like "F that shit all day."
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what I think when I read that news.
Like this would be like Greg Berlanti doing it, or I don't know, just someone like J.J. Abrams. No, thank you. No. Anyway.
I know why you didn't want to do the showrunner thing, because it had both of those guys in there.
It was that was something I didn't want to do. Hey, we didn't put the Mandalorian second trailer teaser thing in the rundown, and I just want to say I thought it was a whole lot of hype for a whole lot of nothing.
It wasn't necessary.
Yeah, honestly, it didn't show anything really new or anything. Actually, it showed something that I was hoping they weren't gonna show. When the child closed when they were at the wrestling ring and the child closed the little cradle thing, and he shot the whispering butterflies or whatever they're called out of his gauntlet there. They showed that. That would have been a much cooler thing to just have it be heard in the darkness and then it come back up and you see the aftermath.
I was a little disappointed that they showed that as well.
Yeah. I don't want them to show it in the show. Yeah, we saw it. The one time was cool, and then now it's okay, my mind's eye is way cooler than anything they can do on the volume. Anyway, beside the point. It's been a fun, really long week. There's lots of cool stuff happening right now. So just jumping right into news bites. I'm gonna have to say my Justice League Snyder Cut enthusiasm, while it was never high, is now low.
This doesn't change anything for me.
Ugh.
And again, we understand that. And again, I know a lot of people just didn't like his look.
Well, hold on. Jared Leto. They announced Jared Leto is gonna have a part. It was an exclusive from the Hollywood Reporter. I have zero interest in Jared Leto coloring his hair green and putting in that ridiculous grill again.
See, I actually, because I like Jared Leto as an actor for the most part, and he didn't get done justice in in Suicide Squad. Not at all. Now, that doesn't mean he would have been good, but it's like seeing a part of a picture and then making a judgment on the part of it. You can be right, you can be wrong, but it's not fair either way.
Sure.
And again, we can talk about the Suicide Squad and the ass-tacularness of that movie. But
the Suicide Squad is a tale of two films, right? It's two very different movies that are happening at the same time, because there was the David Ayer version and then there's the Warner Brothers version, and they did not mesh well when that was what the final scene was. But I did not like that version of the Joker. I didn't like him as the gangsta. And I didn't like the way Leto played him. I didn't. I thought it was like a guy who was cosplaying as the Joker.
And that's fair. That's
and
absolutely fair.
and you know, there's things I like Jared Leto in very much, and there's times where I think Jared Leto is, just needs to stick to singing. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I didn't like Justice League. I didn't like it, and I've rewatched it, and I didn't like it when I rewatched it, when it was on HBO before HBO Max launched a couple months ago, and just hearing about this, it's like, yeah, like I don't think you need to add the Joker into all of that, even in a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, I'm curious to see why they're doing this, because apparently, based on what we know, he wasn't in it before, or
I mean, it says here, it says, that he wasn't. Where'd it go? It was just in the article. It said it was weird that he wasn't in the 2017 movie and he wasn't in the reshoots or anything like that. So yeah, it also ties. He
wasn't in the original Snyder.
Yeah, he wasn't in the original Snyder version.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Leto boarding the Snyder cut is noteworthy as the character did not appear in the original 2017 movie and raises questions as to how much new content could be included in Snyder's super version of the Justice League. It also ties the new cut to Suicide Squad, the all-star DC-based movie that saw Margot Robbie break out as fan favorite character Harleen Quinzel, which saw Leto portray the Joker as a love-obsessed and glittery crime lord, more like it. So yeah, I don't know. I also thought the interesting thing about this is they talked about John Berg and Jeff Johns and how they've been pushed to the side after their bad behavior towards Ray Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like, I think that's all we can say is we'll see. Will it add to the movie? Will it take away? I really feel like the focus of the movie should be getting the Justice League together before the last 22 minutes of the film. But it's just called the Justice League. What do I know?
Right. So I think, again, this might be one of those that you just have. I just assume it's going to be kind of like a flashback or something. But again, not sure you need it.
Who knows?
My expectations are still the same. It's a Snyder. I know what I expect from Snyder films.
Sure.
For the most part.
Yeah,
so.
They're going to be really, really pretty. They're not going to have a whole lot of substance, and the Kents are still going to be monsters.
You're a monster.
You're a monster, Amy. There's some movie coming out with the two of them, with Kevin Costner and Diane Lane in it, and they're like raising a kid or saving their grandkid from like an abusive thing, and it's like, oh great, so you can raise this kid to be a monster too. You can be monsters raising this kid too. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So moving on, we've got Willow news. Did you like Willow?
I love Willow. Now, with that being said, I haven't seen it in probably 15 years at least.
So
it just came on to Plus though, so
yeah,
I'm gonna check it out.
Well, I got it on Blu-ray when it came out on Blu-ray because I loved Willow. I still love Willow. It does not hold up especially well, but it's still such a cool idea for a movie. I'm really excited to see that they're revisiting this on the TV screen, not as a movie.
And one of the things I loved about it, again, is in the 80s, and a lot of nostalgia with it, but it kind of gave us glimpses of what could have been like this huge fantastical world, but we never got to.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're exploring it in a series allows them to do so much more than if they were just doing a sequel, 30 years later sequel or something like that.
Correct. So, so I don't know. Like, I saw it's John M. Chu is going to be the executive producer, and he's going to direct the pilot. If that name sounds familiar, he directed the insanely underly appreciated Crazy Rich Asians, which is a fantastic movie. And then he's directing In the Heights, which is based on the Lin-Manuel Miranda play.
That's what that's from. Okay.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Like, I found out about this because I saw Sam Witwer tweet, "Can I come and play Mad Mardigan's son?" Like grown up son. And it's like, yes, you can.
Yes, absolutely.
So Sam, when the question is, can I play? The director should say, when you say, can I? And he should just say yes. You're welcome to do anything you want to do in nerd culture. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see this. This was Lucasfilm's first non-Star Wars movie and I guess universe, if we want to call it that. It was a version of Val Kilmer that I think we sorely missed out on seeing more of.
Right. And this is just another drop in the bucket of it's going to be a great few years for fantasy fans on the small screen.
Yeah.
You have this, you have obviously The Witcher filming in season 2, Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time, the news about Conan.
Mm-hmm.
That's some heavyweight fantasy content right there.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of it.
And there's coins to be tossed to The Witcher to make it even better.
I see what you did there. One thing I did like about hearing about this, and again, I sent you, and we're not necessarily talking about it, but I sent you that news bite or the link that Smokey and the Bandit, they're going to do a reboot of that.
Yeah, and it's going to be a TV series as well.
Yeah, so one thing that a lot of these, quote, reimaginings try to do is try to play up on the nostalgia factor.
Right.
And I like what Howard said about this. He said, this isn't a nostalgic throwback. Mm-hmm. It's a creative lean forward, and it's a blast to be a part of it all.
Right.
So that's, if you're doing something in the sense of taking a property and wanting to expand upon it, okay. But when you're just trying to put a new hip, cool stamp on it because you don't have any other ideas, that's when I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. I think John Chu is a great choice for this.
Yeah, I really like Crazy Rich Asians.
So it was such a great story first and foremost, and then it was actually a really beautifully shot film.
Yes,
I thought the cinematography was really good, and it showed Shanghai and just this as a beautiful location and everything. And then you had that scene with the bachelor party on the barge, which could have been like the climactic battle scene in any action movie. So with all the fireworks and RPGs. All right. So Chu had a really good statement in this too. He said, growing up in the 80s, Willow had a profound effect on me. The story of the bravest heroes in the least likely places allowed me as an Asian American kid growing up in a Chinese restaurant looking to go to Hollywood to believe in the power of your own will, determination, and of course, inner magic. And I think that sums up Willow as a character so well. And Warwick Davis did such an amazing job with Willow. And I'm super excited that he's back. And then having seen this quote from Chu in this Variety article, like it's like, okay, this is going to be a really faithful addition to a story that we only got the first part of and that we didn't get to see any more of.
And I absolutely love that quote for the fact that he also shows that, he took a character that, while not looking like him, but facing similar circumstances, and he used that as his fuel to get through, not just because that character looked like him, but
so he found representation.
Yes. But I love that. And that's why I look at movies. I don't, and again, not to get too deep into, but I look at movies for kind of like like Captain America. Doesn't quite look like me. I mean,
no, but you're very
some good looks.
Well, I mean, you're more Captain American at the beginning than Captain America at the end. Let's be honest. But you definitely, I've seen you get beat down a few times, and you never quit. So
I could do this all day.
Anyway, I get it. Like I tease, but no, you definitely like hold those ideals, and I can see how you see yourself in Steve Rogers.
Yeah. So,
And
but I am looking forward to this, and it honestly, reading this really makes me want to watch Willow this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much
Like
gonna
if
do
you
that.
have Plus, definitely go watch Willow. But yeah, so I think this is a really cool thing. All right, so the next one, because we got a lot to cover. So Quibi is shutting down.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys don't know what Quibi is, I'm not surprised.
People are like, "What's a Quibi?"
What is a Quibi? Because that was their whole like marketing campaign. What's a Quibi? Quibi was a streaming service that was only on your phone, and it had nearly $2 billion in startup capital, and it was led by Jeffrey Katzenberg from DreamWorks and stuff like that, and Meg Whitman. And they announced today that it's officially shutting down after a little more than 6 months. So it has like 100 shows on it, right? And so
I didn't realize that.
So Quibi had like 6 to 12 episode seasons of 7 minutes at a block. They got a lot of really big named actors to do some of these things. They did when the quarantine started, they did Princess Bride at Home, where like different actors played different characters and they kind of played out different scenes, and then the next day would be another scene with a different set of actors. It was okay and kind of funny. But not worth like it. So Quibi's big problem is they wanted like $8.99 to watch it without commercials or whatever, and it was like, I think it was like $6.99. I might be wrong about the price. But it wasn't worth more than $2 a month. But I mean, they had like Anna Kendrick and Donald Glover was in a show.
Kiefer Sutherland
was in a show. Sansa Stark was in a show. One of the Jonas Brothers was in a show, and like, so I mean, they had like huge names, and it was very like Tobin like. If you get my drift there, it was very self-satisfactory for these actors to be doing this, in my opinion. It felt like it was I would say a masturbatory role that they would play to just kind of get off on themselves, like Jeffrey Toobin.
I mean,
so like honestly, like I wouldn't take any of it seriously. Like some of it was funny, like. I'm pretty sure some of them just took it because they can be like, hey, I'm going to sit around and I'm going to smoke pot on set all day, and I'm going to be super high while I'm filming this, and you can tell, and there you have it. But yeah, I don't know. It's so like Angel and I were talking the other day, the Snoopy movie, The Great Pumpkin is only going to be on Apple TV Plus. The same with the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving and Charlie Brown Christmas. And she's like, why wouldn't it be on regular TV? It's like, because Apple wants people to subscribe, and that's great. And she's like, well, what do they have? And it's like, they have Ted Lasso, they have Bean Jacob, they have Long Way Up, they have Little Voices, they have Raven's Banquet. Like everything I've watched on The Morning Show, everything I've watched TV shows and movie-wise that Apple has put out on there, I've really enjoyed. And so Quibi, on the other hand, I didn't enjoy any of it. like it was kind of like I tried to watch, like I don't think I finished one single show.
That was the thing that,
and you know how I like to stick with shitty shows after I've started watching them, because it's like, hello Entourage. I even went and saw that stupid movie because I wanted to see what happened. Dexter, as another example. But yeah, and so I mean, this just was not good, and I'm actually surprised. I was one whoever gave these people $1.8 billion. You can do way more better stuff, much better stuff with $1.8 billion in the world than Quibi.
Yeah, so when I remember seeing the first commercials for it, and like, what's a Quibi or what have you, and like the show with the Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The game.
Yeah. So that looked interesting, and then I looked it up, and that's when I saw like what Quibi was. Yeah. And I was like, 7-minute episodes. What? No thanks. So that's not everybody I know and that doesn't mean it couldn't have been good. Just like a short story
Sure.
can be good with a couple pages or 5 to 10 pages, that's fine. But that just didn't grab me, and you never really talked about it. We talk all
Well,
the time about stuff.
I signed up for it, and it was a 90-day free trial. So that should tell you right there what they thought about the service. Yeah, there was nothing to talk about. There was nothing like, dude, you have to see this. Like the one with Donald Logue and Anna Kendrick was Dan Harmon's real life girlfriend wrote it, and it's about their life together and the sex doll that he had in his apartment. And how she was jealous of the sex doll.
Okay.
Like I said, very Tubian.
Yeah. So, because like you just mentioned, you were talking to your wife about Apple TV.
Oh, yeah.
You've talked to me about Ted Lasso. You've talked to me about, I think, The Morning Show.
Dude,
You've talked to me
Ted
about
Lasso,
something else on there.
100% my favorite show of 2020.
Yeah.
100. No,
So-
there's nothing even close.
That's bold.
Yeah, and The Mandalorian, I do not think will unseat that. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, but
Not
like,
even The Boys.
no, not even The Boys. I enjoyed Ted Lasso more than
Not
The
even
Boys.
Upload.
No, not even Upload.
Wow.
So, I watched. So I like Ted. Anyway, Ted Lasso short episodes, so like 40 minutes. So I would watch it, and then the next week I would watch the new one, and then go back and watch the last one, and then the new one, and then the next two, and then and just so I like, because I mean it's so short, and like I was sitting there working while I was doing it, and it's a feel good. It's anyway, and it's really good, and I'm a huge Jason Sudeikis fan. Like, other than Andy Samberg, Jason Sudeikis is my second favorite SNL alum. So. But no, Quibi it's stupid. Like, it's stupid. I'm glad it's going away. It was a bad idea.
One thing, and this is kind of compounds a bad idea compounded, is that they did not offer it on anything other than mobile.
Well,
like, why wouldn't you have that on a Roku or Fire Stick?
It was like a
Apple
month and
TV?
a half ago that they announced that you could cast it onto like Chromecast or Apple TV or something like that. But here's the thing, depending on the orientation of your phone, depending on how much of it you saw. So if you had your phone in like portrait mode, like straight up and down, you just saw like the stuff from that. If you turned it, you saw the whole thing. But it wasn't like, so it wasn't like if I had it in portrait mode, I only saw like a sliver of it with black on top and bottom. And then if I turned it in portrait, it's not like I was just looking at a sliver of it with black on left and right. But if you didn't have it in holding it in landscape mode, so long ways in your hand, so where you'd hold it in both hands side to side, like the way you should take a picture with your phone, or a video for anyone who's listening, don't hold your phone straight up and down and do a video.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, but you would, so like people would, like every time they showed someone using it in the commercials or whatever, they were holding it up and down. It's like, yeah, but you miss everything. Like you miss like literally everything that's happening in the background. So I don't know. I'm okay with them shutting down.
Yeah, I get where they were trying to innovate, but and then this is on top of the fact that you have all these other streaming services and you're trying to battle them out with what? And again, it always comes down to content. And like you said, they didn't have any. They did have
content. They had 100 shows.
Good content that would engage.
So yeah, there you go. I mean, the Apple TV's got a Beastie Boys documentary that is awesome. It's got this really cool bank robber movie with the Falcon. Anthony Mackie, that's really good. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of cool stuff on there. All right, so let's move on. So moving on, the Old Guard has reared its amazing head again. So it turns out it was way more popular than we realized.
Yeah, it was.
78 million people streamed it in the first 28 days, according to Netflix. Now I know you and I are responsible for like 6 of those streams, so you're welcome, Netflix. Yep. But yeah, I mean, it is crazy. And then you sent something about Cobra Kai.
Yeah, that Cobra Kai was like 70. What was no Cobra Kai? I think was like in the 50s or
Okay.
60s, or
Still.
something like that.
I mean,
Still, yeah,
Cobra Kai was in the 60s for a show that's been out for 2.5 years.
yeah. And by the way, I have to say again, I was watching a reaction of this, like of season 1 from this channel, and
Yeah.
I love Cobra Kai so much. I'm so sad. I'm
Well,
kind of glad that
welcome
I
to
waited.
the party, pal.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that I waited, so I won't have as long to wait for season 3 as you have. But I
Yeah,
love
but
that show.
I got to watch it again and
again.
enjoy it. And again, I mean, I think that was like my third viewing of the series as a whole. But yeah, no, so I thought it was interesting. So that was like 78. Power, what was it? The Project Power was 74, which shocked me because that wasn't very good. I mean, it was okay. Like it
was okay.
Yeah, like okay at best. How about that?
I really like the concept.
Yeah.
Really like the concept, but execution, nah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then let's see what here it's saying. Enola Holmes, which was released only with only 1 week left in the July to September window. That was another popular one, which Haley liked that one. I listened to some of it and watched a little bit of it. It wasn't as bad as everybody was saying.
I was really excited for it, and then I just kind of lost interest. And I'll end up watching it.
I will say, Millie Bobby Brown. Is it Millie Bobby Brown or Miley Bobby Brown?
Millie
Bobby Brown. Like
Millie Vanilli.
It's really lucky for her that she's growing up to be very, very pretty, because she could have gone either way, like super pretty kid, like super pretty adult, or really weird looking adult, because she was running around Stranger Things as like a 14, 15-year-old with a shaved head, and it's like, this could go really bad for her. But no, I mean, she's growing up, and she's gonna grow up to be a very pretty woman when she's old enough. So and I like, I don't know, but I also think she can act, which is weird, considering she started as a kid actor. But let's go back to the fact that The Old Guard is probably the best movie Netflix has ever put out, in my opinion.
It's one of my favorites. I know that
much.
They have a lot of movies that have good concepts, just poor execution.
Like Triple Frontier.
I actually really like Triple Frontier.
Yeah, but it was a great concept, but it was just kind of a piss poor, you had a whole bunch of really cool actors kind of pseudo mailing it in.
Yeah, see, I really liked that. I mean, I that was one of those great concepts, and I thought the execution was actually pretty good. But yeah, I was talking about something like Bright, which I love the concept of Bright.
Yeah, Bright. That's a great example.
It's just not there. Good special effects just didn't do it. And I mean, Extraction is one of those where it's not a great movie, but it's just such a fun movie, which is fine.
Extraction, I think Extraction was an experiment in keeping your pulse rate. They were keeping the viewer's pulse rate at a certain level. Did you ever watch the movie We're Your Friends, or what was it called? It's got Zac Efron, where he played a DJ. We Were Friends, We Are Friends, or hold on.
I don't think I ever finished that, but I did
start watching it. I own it. Let me look up the exact title here. Where'd he go? Oh, We Are Your Friends. Yeah. So,
okay.
So in that movie, he talks about like the anatomy of a perfect DJ mix, and it talks like they talk about like he talks about how you start like at this point, and you get their pulse, like their heart rate going at this point, and then you drop this, and then their whole heart rate spikes, and they all start like it was just like it's a really cool scene because like it's got like the beat going behind it, and yeah, I don't know. I think this is really cool. I think this is great for the Old Guard. I think this just cements Charlize as being so she's the best female action whatever person, actor in cinema history, and she's in the top 4 easy for all time best like action star.
Yeah, she is great.
I mean, Keanu for me is the top, right? Like, Keanu has done it longer than anybody else, and he's believable, and he actually takes his characters take damage and then fight back. You know, so he to me, he's the top of that category.
Absolutely.
We should probably do that as an episode one of these days, like the top action movie stars.
You're in the action figure.
Okay, so I
right
got both my armorers. I got Big Tom, the Mando, the heavy Mandalorian.
Did you say Big Tom?
Yeah, it's his name, Big Tom. And then I got my Camino clone trooper today, and I got my Cyclops pop from the 2000 X-Men movie.
That's a nice little
dude.
days.
All in 2 days. Plus, I got a new pair of shoes. So it's been a busy day busy 2 days at my household, at the Nerd Den Studio delivery service. And there's something else I got too. I don't know.
I love that concept, that idea of doing the best, top
we definitely should.
top action stars of the now.
Yeah, I think of just all time, but but yeah. All right, so let's move on to the it's Happy Blumhouse-ween. So all right, so we talked about this a couple weeks ago. So Amazon Prime came out with 4 Blumhouse A24 collaborated films that are all horror thriller themed. We're going to talk about the other 2 that we didn't watch this week next week. But we're going to do these mini reviews. We're not going to spoil anything. But yeah, so this week we did The Lie, which was actually filmed in 2018. Did you know that?
Yeah, I when I looked it up, I saw that.
And then Evil Eye, which is a 2020 movie. So we'll start with The Lie. And the summary of The Lie is, in this drama, a father and daughter are on their way to dance camp when they spot the girl's best friend on the side of the road. When they stop to offer the friend a ride, their good intentions soon result in terrible consequences. The family quickly closes ranks and decides not to tell anybody, but secrets rarely stay secret for long, and they soon find themselves faced with an impossible choice that will alter the course of their lives forever.
So, with you reading this, it reminded me of the guy who used to do, back in the day, who used to be the voiceover for all the trailers. I don't remember his name.
Oh yeah, I think he died, but yeah, I know, like In a World.
Yeah.
That's actually a movie. It's called In a World, and it's about the person who's going to replace that guy. And Lake Bell, I think, very least wrote it. She stars in it. And she's trying to be the first female voice-over person. It is hilarious. Nick Offerman is in it. It's a great movie.
Seen that,
yeah,
that's popped up, and that's on my watch list.
So I saw that at the Esquire, and I bought it the day it came out on digital.
I did not know Offerman was in it. So yeah, that's another one.
Anyway,
that's moved up the list.
Yep. So this has got Muriel Enos as Rebecca, Peter Sarsgaard as Jay, Joey King as Kayla, Cass Anvar as Sam,
Screaming Firehawks,
Devery Jacobs as Brittany, Nicholas Lee as Detective Rodney Barnes, and Patty Kim as Detective Kinja Tagata. Okay, so of the 2 that we've watched, this was my second favorite one. And so I'm not throwing shade on it, right? I think this was a really, really cool premise of a movie. I was expecting, because it was a Blumhouse movie, to have some supernatural twist to it, which it didn't have, but I'm okay with that. But one of the things I really, really disliked was, is it Muriel? Is that how you say that? Muriel Enos, from World War Z and The Killing and Hannah. I did not like her character at all.
I my issues with this movie, and again, it was my second favorite of the two as well. I, one thing I found, and again, like you said, I was expecting something supernatural, which I don't know if that colored my expectations. I'll put it out there. It may or may not have, but I just wasn't as invested. Say, for instance, watching this movie, I was looking up stuff about the movie on my phone. When I was watching Evil Eye, I did that in the first maybe 20 minutes, and then I got into the movie.
So so comparing this to another Blumhouse movie that we reviewed, the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man did not have an overwhelming amount of supernatural to it. In fact, it had none. Yet it did this really great thing where it kind of piqued the anxiety section of my brain and never turned it off until it needed to be turned off. And then, like you watch The Invisible Man and you're struck with that fight or flight the whole time. In this one, I wanted to smack Muriel, Rebecca and Jay, because they are the worst parents in the history of the movies. And that goes for the Kents in the Snyderverse.
Wow.
I mean, Kayla was a brat. She and Joey King, I typically Joey King is usually like a cool little bright spot in a movie when she's been in some of these things. And yeah, it's just, she was not, and I think, let me phrase this. Joey King did a great job playing Kayla. Because you hated Kayla. Hated her.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
100%. And yeah, so I think, so that colored it for me partially, right?
And building on that, looking at the character cast, the only two people that I didn't roll my eyes at because I either didn't like them or actually just didn't like them was Detective Tagada, Patty Kim, who's also an Expanse alum.
Yep.
And it's funny I said Expanse alum and Cass Anver because I got where he was coming from.
Well, I mean, he was a dad who was looking for his missing daughter.
So
and I
those
think
two were the.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say those were the only, like you said, Rebecca, Jay, Kayla, the whole family was just, and then Nicholas Lee was basically your tropish detective who.
And all I could think is, wow, Nicholas Lee got fat. So I'm not trying to shade him or anything. Dude, I'm pudgy too, dude. But I just remembered him from the X-Files, right? When he was the replacement for Mulder there when what's his name? David Duchovny disappeared for a while. And I've typically liked him when he shows up in things. I don't know if you remember him from Kyle XY. If you watched that show about the kid without the belly button.
No, I watched a couple episodes.
So he was in V, in the reboot of V. He was on Arrow for a few episodes. He played one of the bad guys. I know, shocker. But I typically like when he shows up, and I was excited to see him. And you're right, he was kind of just he had a few really good one-liners, cop lines, but he was still kind of a wet blanket. I thought Kaz Anvar did a pretty good job with the limited role he had. I thought he was going to have a bigger role for sure.
I did too.
I did not like that they showed us what happened at the beginning. So that we were told that Kayla killed Brittany, right? I would have much rather it been the defending Jacob thing where the parents are trying to stand by her with some ambiguity going on there, or Mindhunter with Brian on Mindhunter, the Colt McElhaney's kid on Mindhunter, where he maybe killed the one little boy, but you didn't know, but the parents were still standing by him, but then they were falling apart because of that. And because Rebecca and Jay, who I love Peter Sarsgaard, by the way, were already split up and fractured, like, I never believed that they were ever going to be a united front on this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just a couple changes would have made it a lot more interesting.
And I do want to call out. So there's a show on Netflix called Working Moms. I don't know if you've ever watched it. It's
I haven't.
It's hilarious. But Danny Kind is one of the actresses on there, and she showed up. Catherine Reitman is the writer, producer, like everything of the show. But yeah, so seeing Danny Kind show up, I thought was kind of cool because I like her from that other show. She was the cello player, Jay's girlfriend, Trini.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, so just like little things like that. But I thought, filming wise, it looked good. They did a really good job of not doing everything at night, which I was afraid was going to happen based on the preview.
Yeah. Yeah, like from a technical standpoint, I thought it was fine. It's just some of the story elements and just some of the characters, or most of the characters, I will say, were just unlikable. And it's one thing if a character is unlikable because they're, just a bad person and just evil or something like that. It's another thing when they're unlikable just because of how they're written. And it's a very forgettable film for me, even though it does have a pretty neat idea.
Yeah.
Just didn't execute right.
And this was directed by Vienna Sud. I guess that's how you say it. Sud. Or Vina Sud. And she's known for like The Killing and Sorority Life. She did an episode. She did a bunch of episodes of The Real World Back to New York with her boy The Miz. So I didn't know that until I went digging around. But I would like to see more from her as far as like writing and directing goes, because I think she did as best a job as she could. I mean, I know she was the writer director. So, but this was also based on a book that I'm trying to remember where it was from now.
We Monsters.
Yeah, We Monsters. Thank you. I have that in the show notes. So it was based on We Monsters, which was a book, and so yeah. The interesting thing. So, like we said, this movie debuted at the Toronto International Film Festival in 2018. It did not premiere until October 6th, 2020, along with Black Box, which were the first two movies that Blumhouse released. I guess they're doing 8 films. Okay.
Yeah, for next year, I believe.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, it doesn't have a great Rotten Tomatoes score. It's 42% based on 59 reviews. The website's critics consensus reads, "Queasily compelling without ever truly coming together. The lie won't fool many viewers seeking worthwhile horror fare." And I think that's that line actually sums it up really well, because like it wasn't like, and here's the thing, as I'm not a huge horror fan, but like when I do watch it, I want it to be horror or at least a thriller, and this was like plottingly weird.
So basically, you're not a horror fan, but when you do want horror, it just reminded me of Dos Equis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch horror, but I know what horror I like. So like, I don't like torture porn. I don't like but I like the more psychological horror stuff. Like I guess The Invisible Man was considered horror, but that was more like a techno thriller in my mind. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair that line you read is a fair assumption.
Yeah,
it's a
I
fair
thought so.
Critique of it. So,
all right. So moving on then to Evil Eye, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought Evil Eye was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It had a great twist. What a twist!
What a twist!
What a twist! God, stupid robot chicken. So I really like this. Sunita Mani, who played Pavali,
Man.
so she is in Glow, right? She plays the terrorist character
and
in
I
Glow.
completely forgot about that. It's been so long since
which
I've
was the
watched
whole
it.
reason I wanted to watch this, right? Because I love her in Glow. And then Bernard White, who plays Krishan, her dad, is the founder of Hooli's guru in Silicon Valley. And he's my 100% favorite peripheral character on that show, because he's this guru who is hanging out with, the guy's name is Gordon Belson. He's hanging out with him, and he changes his guru teachings to whatever is going to get him paid. So, cool thing about this one, it was based on an Audible original audio play by the same name. Which was
pretty cool.
Yeah, and I remember seeing it, and I might actually go pick it up because I have a whole bunch of Audible credits that I need to spend. It was cool that it was a very small cast, right? Both of these movies had very small casts, which I enjoyed.
They had Quibi-sized cast.
Yeah, they were. I don't know. I was gonna say something stupid, but I think the thing that really pushed this over for me was just the mother-daughter relationship with Usa and Pavalvi. It was so, working in tech, like we work with a lot of Indian people, and it's always so funny to me, like, and I think it's kind of cool, the relationships that they have with their parents. And this was like I've seen, women I work with who are grown women and married and like are still beholden to whatever their mom says that they need to do. And I just don't understand that. And I thought this was a really, really cool representation of that with a supernatural twist.
Yes.
And I will say, I watched this one second, and I was really thinking, oh my God, there's not going to be any kind of like supernatural nature to this. And when there was, I like almost jumped up for joy. So
yeah, and
because it was such a cool reveal.
I loved the reveal of that, and it was the same thing with me, because the idea is you don't know if Usha, the mother, is she seeing things? Is she just something wrong with her brain, or is this you just don't know, because again there's a lot of talk, she's big into astrology and and all that stuff, and
I liked how she went to her. No, I like how she went to her guru, and he's like, for 5,000 rupees more.
Yeah.
So the summary for this one, because we did not read this because we were too excited and we just jumped right in. So,
our bad.
Sorry. I'm Canadian right now. Sorry. Sorry, Canadians. Okay, so this one. A curse from the past reawakens in the present to torment a family in Evil Eye, a stylish suspense thriller with a supernatural edge. And by the way, I did not read anything about this movie either one of these movies until after I watched them.
Me neither. I just saw the trailer, but
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, we just saw the trailers. Okay. From her home in Delhi, India, proud parent Usa Katari, played by, I'm not even going to try. I don't want to butcher her name because she's awesome. Is overjoyed when her daughter, Pallavi, calls from New Orleans with news that she's met someone special. But Usa's happiness turns to fear when she notices strange similarities between Pallavi's wealthy boyfriend, Sandeep. Paul's wealthy boyfriend, Sandeep, and a frightening figure from her own past. Although her suspicions are dismissed by friends and family, the more Usa learns about the new man in her daughter's life, the more certain she becomes that an evil force from 30 years earlier has returned with a vengeance. But when Paul announces her engagement to Sandeep, Usa is forced to confront the terrifying question: how do you protect the ones you love from the thing you fear most won't stay, or when the thing you fear most won't stay dead. I mean, come on, this is like such a cool concept, and they nailed it. They just nailed it.
Yeah. I again, one of the things you were talked about earlier is the mother-daughter relationship, and I love that back and forth that they had.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and again, us being American boys and girls and all that stuff, we have, for the most part, just different relationship with our parents than certain other cultures.
Right.
And I found that fascinating in the sense of seeing that, like you said, have coworkers where being married and still beholden to whatever their mother says. So I like that was just a different look for me, just a different lens of seeing something else that I'm not used to seeing, and how it was carried out.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And like, I think when we were joking around about representation earlier, right? Like, I think like this, it's an Indian cast. It is, I don't think there's any white people in this movie other than like maybe a waiter or two.
Right.
But like, you don't even notice that. Like, that's how good they did. Like, nothing was over your head. Nothing was beat over your head. There was no weird agenda into it. Pallavi's thing at the end where she's like, I'm a strong, independent woman who's been doing this on my own in America by myself for years. I mean, like, even that wasn't like heavy-handed or anything. It was like, fuck yeah. Like, bam. Yeah.
It
do
made
it.
sense for her character because of what her character has been through.
And it was such good storytelling.
Yeah. And it's funny you said that because, again, when we talk about like any type of representation or anything like that, it's not the fact that we're talking about the representation itself. It's the way, just like when we're talking about The Lie, for example, good concept, the execution wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with that. This execution made me, I didn't even think about, like, it's funny you said that. Now I'm thinking about it's like, well, her friends were.
They were all Indian.
No.
They were her Indian friends who were getting married and having kids, and the one so she set up on a blind date by her mom all the way from New Delhi. Which I started laughing really hard at that.
She's like, I already had that done.
Yeah, and she's like, he's from Texas. She's in New Orleans. That's some serious matchmaking right there. Let's make no bones about it. But so she shows up to the coffee shop, and he's an hour late. The blind date, and that's how she meets Sandeep, who is a wealthy tech entrepreneur guy. But yeah, it was really, really cool. I'll say, so they filmed this from November to December 2019. So they shot this in like six to 8 weeks. It was a $5 million budget. And this does not look like a $5 million movie because
not at all.
So the co-directors Alan Dasani and Rajiv Dasani, just wow. And cinematographer Yaron Levy, like, the three of you did an amazing film for $5 million. Because when I looked at it, I was expecting it to be around 15 to 25. Yeah. But at 5. Wow.
Quote unquote normal budget. Yeah. But
but this is what we were talking about the other week. The more movies we can get like this at this like price point, the better off that we get to be. And even if they would have thrown another like $5 million into this movie, it wouldn't have added or taken anything away from it.
Right.
So
and it goes to show, like, again, one of the things we're talking about is you don't need those big budgets to make good movies.
No.
And this is a movie I will absolutely watch again down the road.
100%.
Like The Lie, I'm not going to watch that again. Let's be honest. But this one, I will 100% watch this again.
Yeah. With The Lie, I kind of had to rewind it at the end a little bit because I just stopped paying attention. but with this, I was like completely enthralled. I texted you. I was like, I'm halfway through and I already like this better than The Lie.
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed with the reception though, because Rotten Tomatoes, again, it's just an aggregator. It only holds a 53% on 36 ratings. And the critics' consensus says, with Evil Eye, directors Ilan and Rajiv Dasani spy a premise that has no shortage of potential. All right, sounds good going from there. But despite the efforts of a game cast, it remains tantalizingly unfulfilled. And it's like,
I disagree. Yeah.
I used to be a movie snob, where it was all about like, how independent can this be? Oh, you shot this on your Motorola Razr? Sweet, let's watch it. But like, this is the type of movies we need. 100%.
Yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed this, and it's one of those that, again, I'm one of those that I don't like taking a lot of chances on movies. Probably when I say movies, like movies I don't know from people I don't know,
right?
Unless I get a recommendation, obviously. And it's because there's so much out there. I don't want to waste my time, like even 30 minutes, and because I will cut off a movie quick.
Oh yeah.
But like, this is one. If we didn't do this, I'm not sure if I would have given it the time. Even though when I saw this, a few weeks ago, I put, I said, okay, put these on the to watch list maybe, but I have so many movies on my to watch list that don't get watched. I'm so glad, and this is another example of maybe me opening my horizons a little bit and taking a few more chances, because you find gems like this.
Yeah, I mean, if it hadn't been for Sunita Mani, I wouldn't have watched this. 100%. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she's so good in Glow. She plays the terrorist, and it's so funny.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that.
And then I forgot she was in Mr. Robot. So
I still haven't watched that.
I need to go back and finish it. I only watched the first couple seasons. Oh, she was okay, cool. Yeah, she was on The Good Place as well. She's relatively new to the scene, so
I like her a lot.
She's very, very good and very believable, and very. I don't know. I'd like to see her more. I know she's Indian, so like, she couldn't have played Miss Marvel, but like an older Miss Marvel, like I could totally see her in that type of a role, or maybe they make a new superhero for her. Not that we need more superhero movies, but you know what I mean.
We always need more.
So
more power, Brian.
Unlimited power.
I was actually going for the Infinity War.
I know. So make it rain. Rain fire, Daryl. Rain fire. No, so I'm excited to watch the other two. I will say, I think Blumhouse has legit turned into like one of the best movie houses in all of filmdom, because they crank out just these really fun little 90-ish minute movies. And yeah.
I really like Blumhouse. A24 is another one I love. And again, they are generally more horror, and I know you're not huge into horror,
right.
Which I'm not necessarily either, but those two studio houses are showing that, hey, you don't have to be under that massive banner. Right.
But they don't just do horror, right? They did Whiplash, they did Black Klansman. They've done like all of these. Or I guess, I don't know. Did Blumhouse do Black Klansman? I know he was a producer on it. Oh yeah, so he did Black Klansman. So, but yeah, it's just one of those things where he Jason Blum and his production studio, have done some really, really great stuff. I mean, Whiplash had a $3.3 million budget and it made $50 million at the box office in limited release.
Absolutely love that movie too.
And you I don't know anyone who hasn't seen it. Like, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, one of my friends I watched it with, like, thought it was too intense. I mean,
it's so intense.
It was too intense for me. She was like, "It's too intense for me."
J.K. Simmons is amazing in that.
Man!
And actually, that's the type of role I want to see Miles Teller play more. Is like that, like kind of that hardworking, like, cynical kid, who really is working and just not necessarily getting it done. But yeah, I don't know.
So the next two are what? Nocturne and
Time.
Black Box?
Oh yeah, Black Box. Sorry. Yeah, Nocturne and Black Box. So those will be next week. And we'll do more mini reviews. I think this is fun. We should do mini reviews more often where we don't spoil things.
I do like, yeah.
So, but it can only be on like 90-minute movies. So, the other one with Miles Teller that I liked was That Awkward Moment. It was him and Zac Efron and Michael B. Jordan and Imogen Poots.
Yes, yeah, I did like that one.
And Mackenzie Davis. So that was a really good like cast of young actors before they broke out. So
kind of like The Outsiders, but
yeah,
not really.
It was like The Outsiders, but not depressingly sad, and you didn't have to stay golden at the end of it.
Oh, I was just about to say that too. Okay, we think alike way too much sometimes.
Yeah. So
stay golden, pony boy.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I think like this was cool. Like I really like this chance that Amazon is taking. And to be honest, like after a week without the boys, it was kind of like, what am I gonna watch? Like what is life? What is this even? Like
it's kind of that Narcos meme that you see when you're waiting for something.
Right. Yeah. So honestly, I just started reading comic books. Like I was reading like old comic books all week. I'm revisiting Nightwing. Just putting that out there. I finished The Boys finally. Like I had the last two like omnibuses to reread, so I finally finished those. I really hope they end the way the book ends. I really, really hope they go that way.
Might have to go back and watch and read, I should say.
Anyway, but yeah, no, this was really cool. Like, thank you, Amazon, for doing this. Like, I hope like as the streaming wars take off and continue, they don't keep going for like, let's release things like Mulan and Black Widow and things like that on our streaming service early and charge extra for it. Let's make these really cool, dope ass movies that have a limited budget but have a really like Old Guard, like Extraction, like even Triple Frontier was good. I liked it. It just wasn't a good movie, But like things like that. But doing it is like this block where we can do like a mini film festival, I think is cool.
Yeah, I absolutely like that idea, and I would like to see what they have going forward. Because again, we were talking about the fantasy realm. They have the Wheel of Time series coming to them, and that's going to be a big budget series. Mm-hmm. They have
Lord of the Rings.
That's a big budget. Both of those are going to be major budgets. Mm-hmm. But something like this, small and it's very like intimate, because again, you had 5, maybe 6 main characters, if that. Yep. Same thing with The Lie, even though again The Lie didn't hit for me. Yeah. It's still that similar thing. Take those chances, and see what happens.
Absolutely, 100%. So cool. All right, well, we're gonna have a short one this week, dude. We're not going for an hour and a half.
Give you 20 minutes of your time back. Maybe start watching the Evil Eye.
Yeah, go back and watch Evil Eye, or watch it for the first time, whatever. Since we didn't spoil it for you, you're welcome. All right, so shout out to Julianne Brown for being part of the Infamous Podcast Patreon family. Thank you, buddy, for supporting the show the way you do. Yeah, Daryl, what else you got?
Nothing really. Supernatural's on.
Still?
Yeah, it's only 5 more after tonight. Again, obviously, since we're recording on Thursday, we have after tonight it's going to be 4 more episodes.
Okay, I might watch the very last episode just to watch it.
And I will definitely have some some things to say when it's over. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Are you gonna cry?
I probably will. I'm not gonna even lie.
I kind of hope they kill Dean. Like, it just seems really weird that he'd be so protected by plot armor that he survived 75 years on this show.
Well, there is actually the plot armor is real in that show, and you haven't watched it since what, season 7?
Yeah.
Stuff makes sense why they have plot armor, literally plot armor.
Well, because they have those tattoos with the little symbols on their chest. So
it goes higher than that.
So, did it ever turn out that one guy was God? The guy that was in the Prophet, that Chuck? Isn't that Chuck?
Yes.
Wasn't that the Prophet? He's God, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, stupid. All right. Well, cool. On that note, thank you guys, gals, for listening. We'll be back next week with Nocturne and Black Box and something else cool. So.
And probably a myriad of other news bites.
Yeah, definitely news bites for sure. But yeah, maybe we should hit the pod deck for next week to come up with a little segment in there. So.
I do like that. That's pretty cool.
Well, you got to come over and see it because there's interview questions and stuff, and you just shuffle it up and you can just pick random things. So anyway, all right. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. We will talk to you soon. Bye.
See you.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @InfamousPodcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from MeetMichaelHenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @BrianTudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time.